Whoa, Nelly. Tesla did not disappoint with this We Robot event. It's going to be a wild ride in this deep dive as we break down their vision of the future, you know? Robo-taxis everywhere, self-driving buses. They even had robot buddies.
Yeah, it's definitely ambitious. I think the biggest thing is how Tesla's not just making small improvements. They're going all in on changing everything about how we think about transportation. Autonomous vehicles and robots are at the heart of it all.
For sure. And they jumped right in with the Cybercab, no hesitation. Imagine this. You need a ride, and this super sleek two-seater pulls up. No steering wheel, no pedals, nothing. It's totally driverless. Wild, right?
It's a bold move. The Cybercab is more than just a concept car. It shows everyone that Tesla is serious about this whole driverless future thing.
Yeah.
And the price. They're saying under $30,000.
Sure.
That's less than a lot of new cars out there right now.
No kidding. They're really shaking things up. Musk even said it could cost as little as 20 cents a mile to operate. That's cheaper than some public transit. And get this, he's aiming to start production by 2026.
Yeah, about those timelines. Gotta love Musk's ambition. They might be a little optimistic. Even if it's a few years later, though, the Cybercab could totally change how we think about personal transportation. Imagine if everyone could have an affordable self-driving car. Think about what that would mean for owning a car, how cities are planned, even the environment. It's huge.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it. Okay, hold on tight because they didn't stop there. You know those futuristic buses you see in sci-fi movies? Well, Tesla's making it a reality with the Robovan.
The Robovan is a really interesting concept. Picture a big, sleek, totally autonomous bus that can move up to 20 people or even just carry stuff. Think about it. Public transportation, deliveries, even mobile offices.
And they're keeping that same futuristic look from the Cybertruck, giving the Robovan a similar vibe. Tesla's on a mission to drag our streets into the future, that's for sure. But let's talk about the tech for a second. How are they going to make this whole autonomous dream actually work?
Now that's where things get really interesting. Tesla's taking a very different approach to this whole self-driving tech thing, and it's causing quite a stir. Instead of going all in on LiDAR and radar, they're putting all their eggs in one basket. Camera-based AI. They call it full self-driving, or FSD for short.
So they're basically trying to teach cars to see the world the way we do.
Exactly. Tesla's FSD uses a bunch of cameras and crazy powerful AI to understand and navigate the world. This has some big advantages, like being way cheaper than LiDAR and allowing for a sleeker design, which you can see with the Cybercab butt, and it's a big butt. Relying solely on cameras has people worried about whether it'll actually work, especially in tough situations like, bad weather or low visibility.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a risky move, no doubt. Speaking of risky, we can't forget about Optimus, their humanoid robot. They showed off a new version at the event, and I gotta say, it looks like something straight out of a movie.
Optimus has been in development for a while, but this new version has some serious upgrades. They even released videos of it doing things like bringing in packages and watering plants. It's a peek into a future where robots are just around doing everyday stuff.
And Musk doesn't hold back on his vision for Optimus. He's talking about a future where these things are like robot buddies, helping out with chores, keeping people company, you name it. He even tossed out a possible price range, $20,000, $30,000 down the line.
That's definitely a compelling thought. It sounds great, right?
But as cool as it all seems, we have to think about the potential downsides that come with that kind of future. How would this tech affect jobs, especially in fields like trucking and delivery? What about privacy and security with all those robots around? These are questions we really need to grapple with as this technology keeps developing.
No doubt about it. It's a lot to process. On the one hand, we've got the possibility of safer, more efficient transportation, and maybe even a little robotic help around the house. But on the other hand, we're venturing into the unknown, and we got to be aware of the potential risks. Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. We got to be excited about what's possible, but also deal with the challenges head on if we want these advancements to actually be good for us.
Couldn't agree more. But let's dig a little deeper into the tech itself for a bit. You were saying how Tesla is going all in on cameras for their FSD system, right? How is that different from the whole LiDAR and radar stuff other companies are using?
That's the big debate. You see, a lot of companies working on self-driving cars are using a mix of things. LiDAR, radar, and cameras. LiDAR uses lasers to build a crazy detailed 3D map of everything around the car, and radar uses radio waves to spot things and figure out how far away they are. Those technologies work really well in almost any situation, but they're expensive and add a lot of bulk.
And that's where Tesla's camera-only approach comes in.
Yep, exactly. Tesla thinks its AI is so smart, having been trained on tons and tons of visual data, that it can use cameras to see and navigate the world just fine. That makes their system potentially much cheaper and easier to produce on a large scale. But, and this is a big but, some experts are seriously wondering if cameras alone can be as accurate and reliable as using all those sensors together, especially when you have things like super foggy weather or heavy snow.
It's like choosing between keeping things simple and affordable or going all out for maximum performance, but potentially hitting some roadblocks.
That's a good way to put it. Tesla's basically betting big on their vision-based system, thinking it'll be more adaptable and have more potential in the long run. Other companies are playing it a little safer with the whole sensor fusion thing. I guess we'll have to wait and see who comes out on top in the end.
This is going to be interesting to watch, that's for sure. But even beyond all the techie stuff, Tesla's vision makes you think about the future of transportation and how we interact with technology in general. It really makes you think.
Absolutely. Just think about a world where you don't even need to own a car. You need to go somewhere. Boom, call a Cybercab. It takes you there. No need to find parking, no oil changes, none of that hassle. This could completely change how we design cities, maybe even reduce traffic jams and free up all the space we use for parking lots.
Man, that would be amazing, especially in big, crowded cities. But what about all the people who drive for a living? The transportation industry is huge. There are millions of jobs at stake.
That's a really important point. If self-driving cars really take off, there are definitely going to be job losses in some areas, like trucking and taxi services. But hey, every cloud has a silver lining. This could also create tons of new jobs in fields like software development, AI engineering, and managing all these autonomous fleets. We're going to need a lot of people to keep everything running smoothly. The key is going to be adapting and retraining people for these new jobs.
It sounds like we need a solid plan to make sure this transition goes as smoothly as possible, otherwise it's going to be chaotic. Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about Optimus, the humanoid robot. Musk has this wild vision of Optimus being more than just a machine. He's talking about robots being our companions and helpers in our daily lives. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a fascinating idea, no doubt. Think about it. A robot that takes care of chores, keeps you company, even helps people with disabilities. That's pretty amazing. But we got to be careful because this also raises some really complex questions about how we interact with technology and what unintended consequences might pop up.
Unintended consequences, like what?
Well, for example, how will having robots like Optimus around all the time affect our relationships with other people? Will we start to rely on them too much and forget how to do things for ourselves? These are things we need to consider. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
It's like we're standing on the edge of something brand new, but we haven't figured out all the rules yet. Kind of exciting and a little scary at the same time.
Exactly. And that's what makes all this so interesting. The future isn't set in stone. It's being shaped by the decisions we make today. We need to keep these conversations going, explore the good and the bad, and make sure everyone's voice is heard. That's how we make sure these technologies are used responsibly.
It's a lot to think about, that's for sure. Let's try to sum things up a bit. What are some of the most important takeaways from this Tesla event that our listeners should really try to understand?
I'd say the biggest thing is that Tesla is making a huge push toward a future where autonomous vehicles and robots are just part of life. They're everywhere. They're going about it in a bold, ambitious way, and not everyone agrees with their approach. We don't know if they'll achieve everything they're aiming for, but you got to give them credit for pushing the limits of what's possible.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. This technology is changing so fast, it's hard to keep up, let alone understand what it all means. But that's why we do this show, right? To break it all down.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, and understanding these changes gives us the ability to make smart decisions about the future we want to build.
Well said. And speaking of the future, Tesla's ambitions go beyond just self-driving cars and helpful robots. They're also talking about a future powered by clean energy, like solar and battery technology. But maybe we can save that deep dive for another episode. Feels like Tesla's hitting the fast-forward button on the future, right? But yeah, we can always dive into their energy ideas another time. We've covered a ton about their autonomous plans already. Anything else you want to leave our listeners with before we wrap things up? Some final food for thought.
The thing that really stands out to me is that this future, Tesla's painting the one with self-driving cars and robots everywhere. It's not some far-off fantasy anymore. It's getting closer and closer. And the choices we're making right now, today, will determine what it looks like.
So it's not just about if we can do it, it's about if we should do it. And figuring out how to make sure it all happens in a way that doesn't backfire on us, right?
Exactly. We need to talk about it, the good and the bad, and everyone needs a seat at the table. That's how we make sure we're using this technology the right way.
It's not like we're just watching this happen from the sidelines, you know? We're all shaping this future, whether we know it or not.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to everyone listening, stay curious, keep asking questions, don't be afraid to dig deeper. The future isn't written yet, and that's exciting. And maybe a little scary.
No doubt, a little bit of both. Like we're standing on the edge of something totally new. A little nervous, sure, but mostly excited to see where it all goes. I guess that's what makes these deep dives so interesting.
That's the spirit. We've got to be open to the unknown, explore what's possible, and most importantly, keep talking about the kind of future we want to build.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, we reached the end of our deep dive into Tesla's autonomous future. We hope this got you thinking as much as it got us thinking.
And remember, the future isn't some finish line, it's a journey.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking tough questions, and keep diving deep.